42 young men made fun of a bald man walking down the road. Within minutes, wild bears emerged from the forest and killed every single one of them. This happened 2,800 years ago, and wildlife experts still can't explain how bears coordinate mass attacks on specific targets while ignoring other people nearby. Before we dive deeper, have you ever said something cruel that you immediately regretted? Drop karma in the comments if you've witnessed instant consequences for bad behavior, because what happened on the road to Bethel will make you think twice about every insult you're tempted to throw. Picture this: a respected spiritual leader walking alone on a mountain path, minding his own business. A gang of 42 young men starts following him, shouting insults about his appearance. They think it's harmless fun. They have no idea they're about to encounter the deadliest case of cosmic justice ever recorded. But here's the chilling question. If you saw a wild bear selectively attacking bullies while leaving everyone else untouched, would you call it coincidence, karma, or divine judgment? Keep watching, because what happened next redefined the relationship between words and consequences forever. The hill country near Bethel, around 850 BC. A holy man named Eli Sander had just taken over the spiritual leadership of the region after his mentor's death. He was a powerful prophet, known for incredible miracles, but he had one physical characteristic that made him a target for mockery. He was completely bald. In ancient Middle Eastern culture, a full head of hair was considered a sign of strength, vitality, and divine blessing. Baldness, especially in a young man, was often seen as a curse or divine displeasure. Eli Sander was traveling from Jericho to Bethel, a journey that required walking through remote mountain passes where wild animals were known to roam. As Eli Sander walked a winding mountain road, he encountered a group of young men from Bethel. These weren't children. The ancient text describes them as young men, likely teenagers to men in their 20s. 42 individuals total. They weren't random travelers. This was an organized group, possibly a gang that regularly harassed people on this road. When they saw the bald prophet walking alone, they saw an easy target. "Look at the bald head," one of them shouted. "Hey, Baldy, where's your hair?" another called out. But then their taunts turned darker and more threatening. What started as appearance-based mockery quickly became something more sinister. The gang began following Eli Sander down the road, surrounding him, making it impossible for him to continue his journey peacefully. Their insults became more aggressive. "Go up, you bald head. Go up, you bald head." This phrase had a specific meaning. They were telling him to ascend like his mentor had, essentially telling him to die and disappear. It wasn't just mockery. It was a death threat disguised as religious mockery. 42 young men against one middle-aged bald man on a deserted mountain road. The prophet was completely outnumbered and potentially in physical danger. Pause. Have you ever been bullied by a group while no one was around to help? How did it feel to be completely outnumbered? Comment below about a time when you felt powerless against bullies. Eli Sander stopped walking. He turned around to face the mob of 42 young men who were harassing him. His response was unlike anything they expected. He didn't argue with them. He didn't try to run. He didn't plead for mercy. Instead, he looked directly at the gang and spoke a curse in the name of the Lord. "May bears come out of forest and deal with these mockers." It seemed like an empty threat. What were the odds of bears appearing on command? The young men probably laughed even harder. But something extraordinary was about to happen. Within moments of the prophet's words, something unprecedented occurred. From the dense forest surrounding the mountain path, 2 massive female bears emerged. Not one bear, 2 bears. And they weren't just wandering randomly. They moved with purpose, as if responding to a specific call. What happened next defies everything wildlife experts know about bear behavior. Bears are typically solitary animals. They don't coordinate attacks on multiple targets. They don't selectively target specific groups while ignoring other potential victims. But these 2 bears methodically attacked all 42 young men with surgical precision. Not 41, not 43, exactly 42, every single person who had participated in harassment. The prophet, standing in the middle of the carnage, was completely untouched. The bears ignored him entirely, as if he was invisible. Modern animal behaviors studying this account are baffled by several impossibilities. Coordination. Two bears don't naturally work together to attack multiple targets. Selectivity. Wild animals don't distinguish between guilty and innocent humans. Timing. Bears don't appear on command within minutes of being summoned. Precision. The attack targeted exactly the number of people who had committed the offense. When the attack was over, all 42 young men were dead. The prophet continued on his journey to Bethel, unharmed and unmolested. Word of the incident spread like wildfire through the region. Did you hear what happened on the Bethel Road? 42 men killed by bears for mocking a prophet. The bald man called down divine judgment. The story reached every village, every marketplace, every family gathering. The psychological impact was immediate and lasting. Suddenly, no one dared to mock holy men or women. Parents began teaching their children about the power of words and the danger of cruel speech. The road to Bethel became known as the place where mockery met justice. Travelers would point out the spot where the attack occurred, warning their companions about the consequences of cruel words. Pause. Do you think this was divine justice, natural coincidence, or something else entirely? How you explain two bears coordinating a precise attack on exactly 42 specific individuals? Share your theory in the comments. This story raises uncomfortable questions about the relationship between words and consequences. Can cruel speech trigger supernatural judgment? Do some people carry divine protection that responds to threats? Is there a moral force in the universe that punishes collective bullying? How do we explain animal behavior that seems to respond to human moral situations? Zoologists and animal behaviorists have no framework for explaining coordinated bear attacks that selectively target specific individuals based on their moral behavior. Bears don't understand human speech. They don't judge moral character. They don't coordinate complex attacks on multiple targets while sparing specific individuals. Yet the historical record describes exactly that scenario. In our age of social media bullying, online harassment, and viral shaming, this ancient story carries a chilling relevance. Every day, groups of people gang up on individuals, thinking their words have no real consequences. This story suggests that words carry more power than we realize, and group harassment might trigger responses we don't expect. Before you join in mocking someone, before you add your voice to a chorus of cruel laughter, remember 42 young men who thought insults were harmless fun. This isn't just a story about bears and bullies. It's about the moral fabric of the universe. It suggests that there are forces at work that respond to injustice, cruelty, and the abuse of power. When 42 people gang up on one defenseless individual, something in the cosmic order responds to restore balance. The Bears of Bethel became legendary throughout the ancient world. For generations, parents would tell their children, "Remember what happened to the 42 who mocked the prophet? Words have power. Cruelty has consequences." The story served as a deterrent to bullying and harassment that lasted for centuries. Today, we live in an era where online mobs can destroy someone's life with coordinated harassment. We've forgotten that words have power, that group cruelty carries consequences. Maybe the Bears of Bethel are a reminder that the universe has ways of dealing with bullies that we don't understand. Final challenge. Before you mock, harass, or join in group cruelty against someone, remember 42 young men who learned too late that some insults have deadly consequences. Share this story with anyone who needs to remember that words carry more power than we realize. That's the day when cosmic justice wore fur and claws, and 42 bullies discovered that some victims have protection they can't see. The bears that answer one man's prayer for justice still prowl the edges of every cruel conversation. If this story made you think twice about the power of cruel words, drop bears in the comments and subscribe for more incredible true stories that prove actions and words have consequences beyond what we can imagine.